What's up, people? This is Brewing Daddy coming at you from down south. We're about to brew up something special today. We're gonna be brewing up Northern Brewer's zombie dirt recipe. Let's get it. All right, here is all of our items for the ingredient kit for the zombie dirt. This is a 1 gallon kit. So we have our steeping grains here in the bag. That'll go in first, of course. Then our malt extract syrup, that'll be next. And then at several intervals, we'll be putting Citra in. We got 5 packs, 3.5 gram. And then we also have a 1 ounce bag. We have our yeast that will pitch once we're done brewing. And then during bottling, we'll use these fizz drops to carbonate the bottles. Our instructions here. Northern Brewer does a pretty good job of providing very thorough instructions, and it was all packaged in this box here. It's packaged pretty well. One thing you have to watch out for with them though is bags like this sometimes being open. Ready to brew up some zombie dirt. Northern Brewer 1 gallon recipe. We've already sanitized our fermenter, our airlock, our lid, our thermometer, and our yeast packet. All this has been sanitized, it's air dried. We have our malt extract syrup in a pot of hot water. Don't get it too hot, just from the faucet, just to make it a little more liquidy to come out of the bottle. We're gonna be using this propane burner and this stainless 2 gallon pot. We also got a kitchen timer here that we're gonna be using. And it's time to get the pot hot, baby. All right, we got our burner going. We already got a gallon in here of spring water. And we're gonna put another half gallon inside our pot. There we go. We're going to put our grains into our steeping bag, and we're going to drop it down into our water once it's hot. And I like to use one of these little clips. It's a chip clip, and I clip it onto the handle right there. So we're going to give it some time, let the pot get hot, and then we're going to come back and we're going to start with our steeping of our grains. All right, so our water's warming up here. I'm gonna prepare our grains. And we'll pour these into our steeping bag here. Once I do this, I usually tie a knot in it so nothing comes out. I usually just stick the bag inside of it so there's no mess. And then dump it out, just like that. Tie a knot in it, just in case if it comes loose, you don't want it down in the pot without a knot in it. And I like to put it in the water and kind of bob it a little bit, get it good and wet, let it stir up the grains and the water in there some. And I use this little clippy, clip it right here on the side, and then we'll set our timer. We're going to steep this for 10 minutes, so let's set our timer. Minutes. So there we go. It'll go off once we hit the 10-minute mark. All right, so looking good. All we can do right now is sit back and have a brew. All right, we've got our steeping bag in there with grains. The water's warming up. We are getting close to a boil here, won't be much longer. Looks like our timer is sitting at 4 minutes remaining, so it won't be long. All right, our timers went off. So 10 minutes has passed, and it looks like we are getting really close to a slow boil here. It's not quite yet there, but it's time to take these out. So we're gonna let this steeping bag drain a little bit, get all the good grain flavors out of that bag, and then we dispose of it. Close to a boil. Now, one thing I like to have on hand is a long handle spoon. And this is critical because you want to keep stirring your wort and keeping it from sticking, especially the malt part of it, you want to keep it from sticking to the bottom of your pot. So once we get a boil going, we're going to reduce the heat back just enough where it's barely rolling. But you got to watch it real carefully when you when you start putting in your malt and your hops, because you can get boil over very fast. So you got to be real careful with that. So once we get boiling here, we'll start putting everything in. All right, so we removed our steeping bag and grains. Very close to having a boil here now. We're getting ready to add in our malt, or liquid malt, and our first batch of hops. And there we go, we got a boil. All right, so we got a slow rolling boil. I'm gonna set our timer for 45 minutes. All right, we got it going. We're gonna put in our liquid malt. And we're gonna be very careful. I've turned the heat down, but you gotta be very careful. You don't wanna boil over here. And especially on gas, you could easily do that, so. All right, so we're gonna mix this in good. We also gotta put in one package of our Citra hops. So let's go ahead and get that in there. Time to get hopping. All right, now we got that in there. Let's mix it up good. It'll come back to a boil. I got the heat turned down, but it's okay. It'll be boiling again. It won't take long. It's on the verge right now. So at this point, you got to really watch it. This first part of the boil can get kind of tricky, if you know what I mean, especially if you're not watching it closely. So you want to pay a lot of attention and make sure that you don't have a boil over, because it can create a big mess for you if you do. But it's looking good. And I believe we got to go 10 minutes or so, and then we can put in our second hops. All right, so we got our hops added in, our liquid malt. We got a slow rolling boil. That's what a good slow rolling boil looks like. You can see our gas is very, very, very low. We don't have it very high right now. So we want to maintain this for 45 minutes. Right now our timer's sitting at 37 minutes and all right, we're sitting at the 5-minute mark. This is our next to last hop addition. 3.5 grams of Citra. We'll put 2 of those in. These boogers don't like to come out of there. There's always one that wants to stay in the package. I don't know why. Both those guys go in. And we stir it up a little. And we're sitting at 4.5 minutes to go. And we're gonna be cutting the heat and putting this on the ice bath. All right, we'll see you back in 4 minutes. All right, so we just cut the heat. We're very close to our 45-minute mark. I like to cut it off just a little bit before because it's still super, super hot. But we're gonna put in our last hops addition here. It's our big packet of 1 ounce. We'll go ahead and get that in there. And the timer is about to go off here. Stir that up good. Putting this in the ice bath, getting it ready to put into the fermenter over here that's already been cleaned and been sitting. All right, so that's our timer. All right, so we got an ice bath here. I'll go ahead and get it all iced up. We're gonna let that sit, and it should cool down here maybe 30 minutes or so, and we'll be able to transfer it into our fermenter once it's cooled off. All right, we got our wort chilled down. It's ready to go in our fermenter. Our fermenter's clean. Everything else is clean, ready to go. We got some disinfecting solution inside our airlock there to keep the air from going inside. We disinfected our yeast packet and our scissors. Forgot to mention that earlier, but yes, you need to disinfect your scissors. All right, so let's transfer. And boy, that wort smells good. We want to transfer it, just make sure your spigot is turned off. Not good if you leave that on. This is a very hoppy beer. You can smell it. Now I'm gonna try to leave. Wow, look at all the hops in the bottom there. It's a lot. You want to leave all that in there in the pot. You don't want to pour that into your fermenter. So we'll get as much of it as we can get without getting any of that hops. And now we're starting to get some of the hops. Let's stop there. That's quite a bit of hops. Wouldn't make very good beer without yeast. But always sanitize your yeast packet. I don't let it soak too long. I try to maybe a minute max, and then because it'll soak through, it'll actually ruin your yeast if you leave it in there too long. Spread your yeast out over the top of it. Make sure you get it all out. Looks like we got it all. Put our airlock and lid back on. One thing I like about working with these 1 gallon sizes is everything's easy, to deal with. Easy to cool. Quick to bottle. It's only 10 to 12 beers. Easy to carry around. It ain't gonna hurt your back. You get old like me, you have to worry about your back. But we're gonna put this one away. 2 weeks, we'll be back and we'll bottle it up. And later on, we'll be sharing it with you. So we hope you enjoyed today's video. Hopefully you learned something from it. We were able to share our great experience brewing today with you. Please like, subscribe, and share us. And don't forget to visit our website, brewingdaddy.com. Peace out.